Hello and welcome to Gardening at 58 North. In this video I'd like to give you guys an update on my orchid collection. So it's now the middle of August and it's been quite a while since I've done an update on my orchids, and they're starting to look really good at the moment, and one of them is at its absolute peak, so I thought it would be a good time now to show you the collection. So I'll start off on the left here, which is my white Phalaenopsis orchid. It hasn't flowered since I bought it. I've bought it and it had some flowers on it already, and you can see the old flower stalk there. Cut it off hoping it would regrow and flower, but it didn't. And what it's done over the last year is it's grown a lot of new leaves, and you can see that it's got this lovely big healthy shiny leaf on the top there. Try to say how shiny that is. It's really looking quite nice. And it's generally just done really well. It's grown lots of leaves but hasn't flowered. But in the last few weeks it's grown this new flower stalk and it's now got some lovely white flowers on it. So what I've been doing is I've just been using these little butterfly clips here to clip it on and just keep it growing nice and straight. And I've had it facing this way. I do this with all my orchids. I face them in a certain direction so that all the flowers face towards the light, and then when they get to their absolute peak I turn them around and I position them somewhere so I can see them and appreciate them with all the flowers facing the same direction. That way I don't have some facing one way, some facing the other way, and it gets them all looking towards you. This is a good example on this one. You can see they're all facing the one direction. So it works quite well. As I say, it does mean that for a lot of the time that they're looking away from the window, but then when they're at their absolute peak, then I turn them around and bring them into the living room or something. So this one has had a caterpillar on it. I found it this morning, the caterpillar, which was quite annoying. I wasn't expecting the caterpillar to be eating the moth orchid. I don't know where the caterpillars come from, but you can see it's got some bits come out of the flower there, where it's been eating it. So I don't know why that is, but I've taken the caterpillar away, so hopefully there's no more. Hopefully it was just one. It was quite a big caterpillar. So yep, that orchid's done quite well. This one here is the one that I was saying is at its absolute peak. I've counted it, there's 24 flowers in total. It's looking absolutely amazing, covered in lots of lovely flowers. So it's been growing this flower spike for probably about 2 or 3 months now, maybe more than 3 months actually. You can see it's got lots of big leaves, and I knew because it had so many big leaves, you can see there, compare my hand. Because it had so many big leaves, I knew it was going to make a really good display. So what I've been doing is giving it a high potassium feed to get really good blooms. And it's just finished flowering now. Well, it won't be growing any more flowers, should I say. I know that because you can see at the end here, the last bud is quite small, and the flower buds next to it are quite large. Whereas if you've got one that's still flowering, you can see here it's still growing. Get that in focus and better light for you. The flower buds behind the main stem, the final bud, are all quite small, so it's still producing lots of new ones. You can see the flowers. There's no actual flowers open yet, so it's putting on a lot of growth. Whereas here, there's open flowers right near the end of the flowering stem, so it's really slowing right down. But as you can see, it's absolutely covered in flower. This is probably one of the best displays I've had from a Phalaenopsis orchid. I've never had one with quite so many flowers as this. You can see it from the other side as well. I've been facing it the other way, so this side isn't the kind of display side. The display side is going to be from that direction. I'll put that in my living room soon so I can have a really good display of my orchid, but I'm really happy with that one. I'll get you a nice close up there. It's got some lovely veining pattern on the petals, so it's really quite a nice orchid. Quite a dark purple as well. And this one here is one I got for, I think it was 10p, because it had finished flowering and they were throwing it out from the garden centre. And it lost a lot of its leaves when I first got it, but it's grown lots of new leaves recently. And over the summer it's been growing a lot of leaves, and it's had these flowers for probably about 3-4 months now. And it hasn't really been putting energy into flowering. It was just all putting its energy into the leaves. But in the last week it suddenly shot up this branch, which has got loads of new buds coming on it, which is looking good, and it's even branched into a second branch. So I think this is going to have a really good display in maybe another 2 months. So I'm looking forward to that. It's quite nice, this one. It's got a very pale pink colour with some slight spotting on it. So I quite like that orchid. A bit of yellow in there as well. Try and get some of the detail up for you. You can see that lovely yellow colour inside. So they're all quite pretty, these orchids. So that one's doing well. So my other Phalaenopsis orchid is this one, which has had a really nice display all summer. This one for some reason decided to flower earlier than the rest, so it's over now. You can see it's putting on lots of new leaves and the new roots are growing lots. You can tell that they're growing because the tips are green. And when the tips are green, that means it's still putting on new growth. They go silvery when they're older, so that's all new growth is put on there. Roots themselves inside are quite healthy as well. It's quite a nice orchid, this one. I think it's got, this is the miniature orchid, so it's got lots of small flowers. As I said, it had a good display all summer, so it's had its flowering period, now it's gone into the growth period. My Dendrobium orchid here is doing really well also. I've done an update on this not long ago, so I won't say too much about it, but you can see the new size shoots are really getting tall, almost as tall as the original shoot, so hopefully if I get the temperature and the watering correct, I'll have really good flowering this autumn. It's a little bit trickier with Dendrobiums to get them to flower, because not like Phalaenopsis orchids which just seem to flower all the time. These need a bit more of a set temperature regime and watering regime throughout the year, because they like a bit more seasonal variance, so hopefully if I set that up right, it will flower. Interestingly, this old spike here at the back has actually got 2 flowers that suddenly appeared the other day. You can see them just starting to open. They're still quite young, they're not open yet, but they'll be opening soon. And these are actually fragrant, these flowers, so they'll have a nice bit of perfume. They're not the most fragrant of orchids, but they're still fragrant, which is a big plus, because if you don't get any fragrance out of the Phalaenopsis orchids. Hopefully one day somebody will come up with a hybrid and they'll breed some fragrance into a Phalaenopsis orchid. I think that would be nice. And lastly, I've got my really small miniature orchid in here. I did a video before about how the roots had all fallen off. I put it up into the new growing medium, but what happened was the leaves were really drying out and the plant was dying. So I put it in this jam jar here to make sure it had high humidity, and it's grown 2 nice roots. You can see they're quite nice healthy roots, so it's now got roots that can look after itself. So what I'm going to do soon is I'll put this back into the growing medium, and it's grown 1 new leaf, lost a lot of the old leaves, but hopefully now it's got roots that can actually look after itself. And I'll put that up into some nice free draining bark mix like I did before, and hopefully that will do well. So that's all my orchids for now. I probably won't be getting any new ones for a while, because as I said in a lot of my other videos, I just don't have any more space anymore, but I'm really happy with the display. And now we're coming into autumn, they should all be coming to their peak, because the orchids actually naturally flower better in the winter months when it's a little bit cooler. So I think that's why these are now putting on new growths. The white one, this pink one here as well, and this one will probably finish its growth spell after a few months and put some nice flowers on, maybe about February time. And the Dendrobium, of course, should be giving me some nice flowering display, probably December time as well. So I'll give you guys an update in a few months when they're going to be probably either when they're in a new growth phase or maybe when they're at their full peak of flowering. But that's it for now, and I'll just leave you now with some nice photos that I've taken of these orchids in my new light studio.